In today's tutorial, we're going to learn how to seamlessly morph any two objects just like this. It's a very simple setup, but we can make it look super smooth using a few tips and tricks that we'll discuss. So let's go ahead and actually figure out how to do this really easily within Geometry Node. In our default scene, we're going to add in the two objects that we need to morph between. These can be any two objects, but for now, I'm just going to use maybe a torus and a monkey. So let's just go ahead and add Shift-A monkey. Now I have both these two objects present. I'm going to add a subdivision surface modifier on both of them by pressing Ctrl 2. So even on the monkey, I'm going to select it and press Ctrl 2, and that just adds a subdivision surface modifier. Now this cube is going to be the object that's going to have the modifier on. So I'm going to go ahead, select it, bring my cursor to the junction of these two windows, click and drag to create a new window, and switch this from the 3D viewport to the Geometry Node editor. Then I'll tap N to remove the side panel and press this plus button to create a new Geometry Node tree. Now I don't need the group input, so I'll tap X to delete it. But if you do use the group input, you could end up with a setup like this that allows you to customize all of these so that you can simply select which objects you want to swap between, as well as the resolution, when you want the transition to start, how long you want the transition to be, and we'll see what this blending and noise scale does when we actually go through the tutorial, but that just allows it to become a lot more customizable to all of your scenes really fast if you make product animations. If you want this ready-made file, you can get it from my Patreon, which will be linked in the description. But for now, we need the Suzanne and the torus objects. So right from our outliner, we can just drag and drop them into our Geometry Node tree. And in case we don't want it to be the original and we have these rotated in some other manner like this, when we actually go ahead and select our cube to see this, we'd want the relative positions to actually be selected. So let's keep relative checked for both of these objects. Now, the first thing that we're going to have to do is switch these to an SDF grid. So we press Shift-A, search for a mesh to SDF grid, and then plug the geometry into the mesh. Now we can choose a good voxel size. I'm going to go with 0.02 because the lower this is, the better it's going to be. But anything too low will cause Blender to become really slow. So I think 0.02 is good enough. Now let's just duplicate this node by pressing Shift-D and then selecting this geometry into the mesh. Now I'm going to mix these with each other by using a mix node. And essentially, if you want just this, you could literally have this much to actually mix between the two. And to actually show you the effect, let's go ahead and hide the torus and Suzanne and convert this SDF grid back into a mesh by pressing Shift-A and search for a grid to mesh node and then plugging this result into the grid. Keep the threshold at the same number as your voxel size, so 0.02, and then plug this into the group output. Now, as you go from a factor of 0 to a factor of 1, you go from the monkey to the torus. And that could be all the effect that you want. And in that case, this is it. But we can go a lot better by mixing in some noise. So let's go ahead and select this mix node and then just Shift-D and plug it in after the mesh to SDF grid over here and duplicate it again by pressing Shift-D and plugging it in between the second mesh to the mix. Now we're going to keep the factor at 0 for both of these and we want to mix in some noise. So let's press Shift-A and search for a noise texture and now take this factor or color, it doesn't really matter that much, and plug it into the socket B for both the mix nodes just like this. Now you see, if you were to start playing around with the factor, the entire texture just disappears. To prevent that, we just go ahead and uncheck this normalize button and now it just gets noisier. So essentially you go from a factor of 0 to some amount of noise. Now you can play around with this noise using the scale or the detail. I think a scale of 3 works really well. And of course you get very similar results even if you just use the color. As you can see, between the color and the factor, there's not much of a difference. But since these are taking in floating values, instead of having an implicit conversion from color to float, it's easier to just use factor. Now the idea is that you want the order of operations to have everything start off at a factor of 0, which is the monkey, and then add in some noise to the monkey. And then as the noise is getting added into the monkey, slowly shift from the monkey to the torus. But as you shift to the torus should initially be very noisy. So this factor is going to remain at 1. Then as this factor increases, it shifts to the torus. And then once you reduce this factor, the torus becomes the same as the original mesh. So we're going to go ahead and keyframe those actions. So start off with this factor at 1, this factor at 0, and this factor at 0 as well. Increase the timeline and let's go ahead and switch our frame rate to 30 frames per second. And let's say I want this animation or the transition to start at frame 15. I'll go to frame 15. just hover over the factors of the mix nodes and tap I on your keyboard to add in a keyframe. So tap I over here and over here. Next, by frame 30, which is about half a second, I want this to get its maximum noise. So let's bring that in and then just tap I. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back by a couple of frames just to ensure that this is a much smoother transition. So maybe on frame 27, I'll go ahead and hover over this mix node and I'll tap I, and you can see the keyframe if you select the mix node. And then I'll go ahead and go front by another 15 frames, which is frame 42. I'll increase the factor all the way to 1 and tap I. And now again, I'll go back by a couple of frames. So maybe frame 39. I'll hover over this mix node and tap I, and then go front by 15 frames. So that's frame 52. Reduce this factor down to 0 and then tap I. So now with all three of these selected, you can see where all your keyframes are. And if you were to play this animation, you can see how you get a transition from a monkey to a noisy monkey to the torus, or at least noisy torus, and then from the noisy torus to the clean torus. Now, my playback frame rate is very slow. It's about 3 or 4 frames per second. You can see a realistic idea by changing the playback from play every frame to frame dropping. And now you should get an idea of the speed at which it's going to transition. If you leave this as is in the default form, it does look all right, but there are a few issues that can be smoothened out to make this go from an amateur transition to a pro level transition. Now, if you see within the first 3 frames into the transition, there's already a lot of noise. And then the amount of noise that's added in over the next 12 frames is not really noticeable. So it looks like there's a pause with this much of noise for a while before we slowly start adding in the torus. And then as you see, even when the torus is shifting back into a smooth torus, it barely smoothens out for the first 10 to 12 frames, and then suddenly in the last few frames it becomes smooth. So to fix this and make it a lot smoother rather than having it clearly visible as 3 different segments, what you can do is select all of these keyframes, ensure that you have the object selected as well as all 3 mix nodes selected, select all the keyframes, and then switch this over to the graph editor. Now in the graph editor, you can see, you can zoom in by pressing Ctrl and the middle mouse button, and you can see where your different graphs are, and this is how it looks. Let's tap N to just remove this side panel to give us some more space. And now let's go ahead and smoothen out the animation. Remember, we said that there was too much happening within the first few frames and then not much happening towards the end. So what we would want is to get this region to be a lot longer. So we can go ahead and just expand this and hide the other 2. Select this. And now if we were to just go ahead and scale this up, you'll see how we get it to remain at a lower value for longer and then speed it up towards the end. So now there's going to be lesser distortion towards the beginning, and then the distortion is going to slowly come in. And even though this curve is clearly non-linear, it looks a lot more linear and smooth for the actual transition. Now let's go ahead and look at the next mix, which is starting off over here. And again, you can see even though we did push the keyframe back to start before frame 30, we moved it back by 3 keyframes. You can see these first 3 keyframes, there's nothing being added in from the torus. There's barely any change to the monkey. So what we want is for there to be more change towards the beginning and more change towards the end, and then lesser change towards the middle. So the way we're going to fix that is, again, select this node, tap V to change the type and change it to free. Once you change it to free, you can just select this handle present at that corner. So let me just zoom in so that you can see. This is the keyframe right over here. And this keyframe has 2 handles. And essentially, if the type was set to automatic or aligned or anything, you see these essentially determine how everything moves. But by setting it to the type as free by tapping the letter V, we can go ahead and move this one separately. So let's go ahead and just rotate it by 90 degrees. So tap R followed by 90 and then enter. And that way you can see it moves faster initially. Same thing we can do for this one. Let's just select this, tap V, free, take this, tap R, and then tap 90, and that should be it. Now, right from the first frame itself, there should be some things being added because there's a lot more happening initially. And then similarly towards the end, it just looks a lot smoother when you actually do the transition. If you feel like you want to enhance this effect, you can select both of these, switch this over to individual centers and just tap SY and scale them up as well so that the effect is even stronger. But I think that is unnecessary. Just this much does the trick. Finally, we have to do it for the last mix node, which is over here. Again, we want a lot more happening here and a lot lesser happening towards this end. So let's just select the end, tap S to scale and scale it up. And then you should have a nice smooth transition between the two. So now if you play back the animation, it should go from the monkey head to the torus very, very smooth. And that's about it. Now, the last thing is that you also have to be able to transition between materials. Suppose Suzanne is red and the torus is blue. So let's say you just had two different materials added in. So this has its own material 001 and this one has its material 002. When you actually do this method, you see the cube that we just created, the transition object, does not inherit either material. So that is definitely something that is a problem. So what we have to do is go ahead and add in another material. So let's call this as a third material. In this case, the default material is good enough because this is material 001 and this is material 002. In fact, I can just rename this material to Suzanne and this one to torus, and cube is transition. So let's go ahead and press Shift A and search for a set material node and plug that in just before the group output. Now for the material, let's choose this transition material and let's teach you how to create the transition material. First, switch this over to the shader editor. And now what we're going to do is we're going to actually go into the Suzanne's material. Now this could be some really complex material. Let's say there was some noise textures that was going into the roughness. It had its own texture coordinate mapping nodes. It could literally be anything. Select everything except for the material output and just press Ctrl C. Now go over to the cube material. Let's actually delete the default principled BSDF. Press Ctrl V and now you get this entire setup done. You can press F to just create a frame around them. And we're going to call this as Suzanne because this was the Suzanne material. Next up, go to the torus. Select again everything that there is. Press Ctrl C, go over to cube, press Ctrl V, and then again with everything set out of the way, tap F and then call this torus material. Again, this is just to keep things organized. You don't necessarily have to do all of the framing and the labeling, but I think it'll genuinely help later on. So now we press Shift A and search for a mix shader node, and we simply plug the first object. So in our transition, the first object is Suzanne. So we go ahead and plug that into the first shader, and the second object is the torus. So let's take the torus material, plug that into the mix shader, and then plug this output into the material output. Now our transition started off on frame 15. We keep the factor at 0 and just tap I, and then the transition ended for us at around frame 52. Since 52 was our final transition, we changed this factor all the way to 1 and tap I. Now you can go ahead and select these, tap T and choose linear so that we get a smooth transition from the monkey to the torus material as well. And even if you were using PBR textures or anything like that, it just works absolutely seamlessly. You literally do not have to worry about it. And in case you think that the object is just not correct, in fact, back in my geometry node editor, I would also like to search for a set shade smooth node, plug that in right there so that it's nice and smooth. If you think that the object is still not up to the mark as the original object, what you could do is up until frame 15, which is where the transition actually starts, you can actually switch off both of these and just hover over this and tap I so that you have a keyframe added in right over there, and instead have the original present. So just tap I so that the keyframe is there. Then on frame 15 or frame 16, switch this to on, hover over it and tap I, switch this off and tap I. And now you go all the way to the end. So that is frame 52. And now on frame 52, we'd want the cube to be hidden. Keep this on and tap I once, go to the next frame. And then once you go over to the next frame, so frame 53, you can then switch it off and then tap I to hide it. And then again, unhide the torus and tap I to add in a keyframe. And on frame 52, go ahead and hide this and add in a keyframe. So hopefully you understood how the switching happened. We switched from the original Suzanne that we had to our created Suzanne initially. And then we had the created Suzanne go through the entire transition to go over to the torus. And then we shifted from our created torus to the original torus. And you can do that with your original meshes as well, so that it's first off lighter on your PC, and secondly, perfectly matches your original meshes. And that's it. Once you're happy with the animation, you can go ahead and render out the animation after you set all of your defaults, like the media type to video, the output folder, and what type of encoding you want. I generally choose FFmpeg video with an output quality of perceptually lossless. I hope this was a useful tutorial that you can implement in any of your work, whether you're doing product animation or some really cool character animations where they're trying to switch between weapons or selections. You can use this in so many ways. The creativity is really all up to you. I will be creating a lot more tutorials like this as well as deep dives, so definitely stay tuned for the next few videos. And let me know if you want a breakdown of how I created the short film that I released in my previous video. Until the next few videos come out, thank you so much for watching, keep creating, and don't forget to stay creative.